see
결론적으로 예수님이 오게 된 그 내용에 대해서 성경을 통해서
through Bible,
이해를 하고 계십니다.
you will be able to understand about Jesus' family tree.
예수님의 조상과 어떻게 연결되느냐.
So how are these two families connected?
앞에서도
So
말씀의
from if we look at the true father's
이번 계보
words from the beginning,
예수님 단계까지
on,
봤을 때
when
마리아까지 끝났다.
it ended with Mary, his relationship.
연결고리에 있어서 참
But
예수님의 혈통을 반드시 이어받아야 되느냐.
but true father had to actually be engrafted or see the seed of
아담부터
Adam.
예수님까지의
So from Adam to Jesus, is that lineage clear?
아니죠.
No, it's not.
아담부터
From Adam to Jesus,
아담의 계보가 쭉 나오다가 사실은 그 명맥이 예수님과 직접적인 연관성에 대해서는 끊깁니다.
There's this connection.
there's a disconnection. It's not that clear, even in the Bible. And just before before Jesus came, there is a story now of how Jesus came. So in the Bible,
계보라고
so
그 개념 속에서 혈통적으로 영적으로
so spiritually,
온 것은 사실이지만
spiritually yes, it's connected. But from the lectures we have and from the research we did, there's no way we can be able to find to prove it. We can only prove it spiritually,
왜냐하면 역사의 기록이
because
계속해서
the history, the record of history
문제가 다르지만
was
그게 끊겼다 연결됐다 했기 때문에
was not clear. It was written, stopped, written, stopped. It wasn't like one flow of the whole history. So,
아버님의 그 혈통적인 것을 따진다면
so if we see, if we think about the blood lineage, then we can only believe it was.
Genesis.
We can only look at the Genesis and
아니라고 하는 사람이
see
동방으로 떠났다
that he
라고 하는
actually left towards the east at one point. Someone,
첫 조상이
okay, Tangun, which is the first ancestor of Korea, came from one of the tribes that had flown to the east. And
명확하게
so,
역사적 사실이
to be honest, we cannot see that clearly. It's not written in history somewhere. So,
아담과 예수의
this is just an assumption.
연결고리로 보면
So,
이스라엘의 정통성을 부여하기 위해서
so in order to be,
이스라엘 사람들이 많은 성경
So,
내용 중에서
so looking at the,
성경으로 택한 부분만 남아져 있을 뿐
so basically in the whole Bible, there are many things that have been written about the Israelites, but the only thing that was, only very important events were actually properly written
하나님의
or
역사를
kept. So,
상당 복귀 원칙에 의해서 설명하는 부분은
so if when we're trying to explain
남아 있습니다.
the
그러니까 다행히
the restoration,
역사성
then we can only try and explain it spiritually, especially when we have to connect both.
근거가 너무 미약합니다.
So I'm very sorry that we cannot have
Evidence is really weak.
the evidence. It's quite weak. I'm very sorry about that.
그리고 사가리아 혈통이 어떻게
So
유다와 연민과
how did Zacharias?
사가리아는 아론 혈통이고 성직자였는데
So Zacharias was a
여기에서도
priest, and how did his
이런 사람은 이스라엘 혈통이 아니에요.
how did his lineage? How come his lineage was cleared? And ready for the Messiah.
그러니까 중동을 중심하고
So it
중동권에서
centered on East Asia.
사실은 정경을 기록한
So again,
역사적인 역술가들은
we cannot see clearly the history. We cannot see where it actually connects. It's really hard, like I said earlier.
무슨 얘기인지
Do you
아시겠어요?
understand?
그러니까 예수님이
So,
온 다음 자리는 중동권이에요.
Jesus came from the Middle East,
굳이 이스라엘의 정통성을 부여하기 위해서
but in order to
이스라엘 사람들이 정경을
Justify.
justify,
자기들이 의도적으로 그렇게 기술한 부분이 없지 않아 있다 이 말씀입니다.
so in order to justify how he was able to be
중동권을 중심하고
one of the persons that had the lineage and connected to our true parents again, it's very hard. It's practically impossible. So you have to see it that way.
You have to see the big picture, not
You have to see the big picture, not the little pigments.
모순이 없지 않아 있습니다. 그다음에 예언자 나단이
What's EO?
데이빗을 재판했다. 나단이
predicting
모른다.
who will see
Ah.
the festival.
그리고 솔로몬은 바세바와 첫 관계로부터 나온.
So what was the first?
여기서 누가 옳고
These are questions.
질문을 잘하셨어요. 이분은
So I think there's a question here about it was someone that actually knows the Bible. He asked the question about how did Solomon and
나단의 재판이라고 볼 수가 있습니다. 그러니까 데이빗이
so I'm just going to try and translate the answer because I couldn't really catch the question.
것은 반대 경로에 대한 상관 법칙을 이해하지 않고서는
So if you don't understand the providence of restoration, you will not be able to understand
신분이 참 아버님이시.
how the story of Solomon and
그러니까 여기서 나단이 바라보는 관점은 어떤
so again
그 시대의 도덕적
Nathan
관점이죠. 하나님 섭리적 관점에서 볼 수 있는 시각과 눈을 갖고
so
있는
again
상황이라고 볼 수가
you
있습니다.
can see that Nathan was
그리고 솔로몬은 바세바와 첫 관계로부터 나온 아들이 아니라고 하는데
so
잘 지적하셨습니다.
okay, that's the question that came back. So then again Solomon and
아들과 솔로몬 둘째
was the first, and then
복귀의 개념에서 중심 인물을 세우는 섭리이기 때문에 그렇습니다.
To find the
아니요,
central
제가
figure.
다시 한번 해주시겠어요?
그러니까 솔로몬의 장자와
Solomon's
사랑의
eldest son.
그 바세바와 그 데이빗이 관계를 맺어서
So Bathsheba,
솔로몬의 첫째가 아니고 둘째라고
Bet,
했는데
okay, so Solomon was the second child of Bathsheba and David, not the first. So again, you can think that it's going to be about the restoration of the Adam and Cain, and so which means he became actually a central figure for the restoration of this eldership, elder-son relationship. So that's why he God allowed for this Uriah to be killed.
다시 되찾아오는 섭리가 핵심입니다.
So again, it was about finding again the
이해되셨나요?
Eve. Did you understand?
이해되셨어요?
Yes.
질문하신 분이 이해되셨어요?
The person that asked the question, could he understand?
부족하면 개인적으로 오세요.
So if you couldn't, then just come after the lecture. I'll explain you clearly.
사실은
Let me find this
유럽의
slide.
문화는 토론하고 대화 나누고 이러면서 이론을
So normally in Europe we have debates. So that's usually something normal in Europe to just discuss and about things.
질문하니까 대답해.
So then that's why when you ask a question, I try and answer you.
이번에 시간은 메시아 자각과 본격적인 섭리 노정 출발에 대한 말씀을 드리도록 하겠습니다.
So I'm going to tell you this time about the awakening of our true Father.
하나님의 직계 아들로 온 것은 알았지만
So again, he knew that he came to
그러다가 하나님이 나타나고 예수님이 나타나서
he came to fulfill the first and the second and third Adam's
구원할 책임이
mission.
메시아의 길을 가야 된다.
And he knew at 16 that he had to
말씀을
follow
본격적으로
and
구원하는
basically help
섭리로 가시게 됩니다.
the providence of restoring.
말씀드리는 것입니다. 자, 그래서 서론적이에 첨령과 메시아자가
He,
그다음에 메시아의 길을 가기 위한 준비, 공생의 출발을 위한 준비, 공적인 섭리 출발을 위한 4절 서론에 대한 말씀을 드리도록 하겠습니다.
so, yeah, hold on.
메시아 자각을 하기 전에 참 아버님은
So before
정적인 참 아버님의 생애 노정이었습니다.
before he actually understood,
그러니까 다시
he was.
16세 이전의 참 아버님은
Sorry, I'm not getting the right slide on my computer, so it's a bit hard.
연구하시면서
Just hold on a second. Can you turn to wait?
정적인 분이었어요. 사랑이 넘치고 어떻게 맞는데 왜? 영어? 이거 많잖아요. 여기 영어 말 버전 맞는데 왜? 이거 보면서요. 오케이? 네. 자, 거기서 잠깐 끊기면 안 돼요. 자, 정적인 아버님이었습니다. 16세 이전에는. 왜냐하면 자연을 연구하면서 자연과 친구가 되고
Before he was 16, he was searching for.
거기에서 자연 세계에서 흐르고 있는
He was searching for God in the nature,
사셨기 때문에
and he lived that way.
아버님이었습니다.
So he was basically. He understood after he understood that he was the Messiah.
출발을 하고 나서 심각한
He knew that
공생의 법을
왜냐하면
he understood the seriousness.
책임이 당신에게 있다라고 하는 것을 깨우치는 순간
So after he understood that he has such a big responsibility,
즉 인류를 구원하느냐
that he has to, that everything will depend on him if he can
아무리 공부를 생각하니까
restore human being or not. He knew that everything was on him, on his back.
메시아 자각을 하고 나서
So after he understood he was the Messiah,
입장에서 사시고
he lived in a very, very serious kind of life because he knew that he had to
그리고 이론적인
restore
것, 말씀적인 것들을
human being, and so then he started changing his way of writing as well, like
공생의
basically
출발을
creating
준비를
DP.
하시고 진리를 찾아서 선포하기 위한 준비를 하시면서
So that was a preparation for
아담과 예수님의
finding the proclamation of the truth,
넘는
and
그런 개념을
there was
진입하시는 것입니다.
everything, even beyond Adam and Jesus. He knew that he had to, because the first Adam,
이전에 타락을 해버려서
the first Adam fell before he could get to,
16세 이후에 살아보지
before he could get over 16, and then Jesus also
영적인 구원을 이뤘지만
he could be able to do the spiritual foundation, but he was not able to do the family life, and he knew, so he could not create a family, and also wasn't able to save humankind in that way.
예수님이 경험하지
So
못한 세계까지
things that Jesus could not experience, he had to experience. So he knew that he had to not just do what the first Adam had to do, but also the second Adam, and perfect it.
1935년
So in 1935, on the 17th, he was that was his day of resurrection, and that was in the mountain of Myeongdu, and God came to him.
여러분들은 과거에
Can you tell me,
우리 36가정이라든가 이런
do you know
분들이
about the 36 couples in the past?
아버님은 세상의 기준
they were in the
타락하지 않은 하나님의
level
기준
of
두 가지를 동시에 상대하십니다.
okay, the 36 couples basically were separated in two ways. There was one that was
완성 타락하지
like
않은
Adam
완성의
and Eve before the fall,
삶을
and there were some that were so
그 삶을 아시고 있지만
there were some that were already in the original form before Adam and Eve, just they hadn't fallen, and some that were representing
타락한 사람들은
the other
그 타락한 세상의
human
기준에서
beings.
그들 나름대로의 도덕적 기준이라고 하는 것을 가지고 살아왔지만
So even though they lived in this kind of
타락하지 않은 인간의 form은 아닙니다.
even though some of them lived in the fallen human world, and others, there were some that were representing those that had not as well gone through all this.
세상적 개념을 갖고 있는 사람에게
So for example,
모두를 다 이야기하면 이해할 수 없어요.
so if we actually explain to people in the fallen human kind, this world, about this 36 couple, and it will be so difficult for them to understand that the idea is about going through a level, overcoming it, going through a level, overcoming, and growing, and that is your life. If we tell this to some people, they will just be completely, confused and.
인간이 타락하지 않았을 때 오리지널 폼을 이루시고 너희들의 삶은 이렇게 전환돼야 된다.
So basically, your life has to be like a life of someone that was before the fall. This is so hard to explain to people.
당신의 삶을 선포해 오셨기 때문에.
So even to just say that, look, this is your life. You've been living like this, and you lived like this, and you have to live the other way. They will not be able to understand.
당신이 성혼을 하고 나서
So after
부모의 입장으로 성장 과정을 가져가면서 단계별로 메시아 구세 만왕의 왕의 삶을 소개해 오셨죠.
So basically, it's impossible
이해되십니까?
for you to understand that kind of concept for fallen human beings to understand it. Do you understand?
Understand? 예. 자, 그렇기 때문에
So,
이 초기에 왜 이야기를
so for example, why do I say this?
아버님의 생애 노정을 다뤘던 사람.
So for example, in the beginning,
아버님을 정확히 파악하지 못한 입장에서
true father couldn't. He was in a position where he couldn't tell this,
뒤늦게 아버님이 정확히 얘기했던 것을 이해하지 못한 바탕 위에서
And
아버님을
because-
소개했던 때가 있었어요.
and there was a time when he could not understand God as well.
과거의 어른들은
But
그
then-
개념을 갖고 있어요.
Now he still has he still remembers these old
근데
times.
그분들을 비판하는 것이 아니라 그때 당시는 아버님이 그런 정도의 수준으로 얘기를 할 수밖에 없었고
So-
그 정도 수준으로 얘기한
So, for example, now at this time he's able to tell this to some people
지금
that
기원전
were there
시대에
during his time.
와가지고요. 모든 것을 다 꺼내서 얘기하시고
So now he's able to also say
밤과
everything.
낮의 하나님, 뭐
He's
이런
talking
개념을
about
막
the God of
얘기하시고
night, the
완성급의
God of day.
삶을 얘기하세요.
He's living this life.
그 기존의 개념을 갖고
But
있는
the people who have the old kind of thoughts, they get confused. They don't understand. What kind of you have to be able to understand true Father's word. Now, the current words that True Father is saying, but it's really hard because they have the past, the old ideas in their head. So in the past, True Father got his mission from Jesus.
예수님이 먼저 16세 때 부활절날 나타나서
And when he was 16, Jesus came to him and told him his mission.
과연 그럴까요?
That's it.
자, 한번 읽어볼까요?
So shall we read it all together, please?
시작.
Everyone?
아버님의 이 말씀을 정확히 보면
If you look at this if you look at this message clearly, you can see that we are like orphans. And all these human beings, all of us, he has to actually try and restore us. And who actually told us to do this? Who was it? Is it Jesus? Is it God? Is it Jesus or God who told? Please answer. So yeah, it was God.
예수님의 명령이 아니라
It wasn't Jesus that told him to do it. It was God.
처음에 나타났던 장면은
So
예수님이 아니라
the first person that came to him,
아버님에게 나타났던 분은
the first person that came to him was God. It wasn't Jesus.
메시아의 사명이고
And
인류를 구원할 책임이다.
and what they told him was,
첫째,
your job is basically,
부여받은 내용이
I am the Father, and what you have to do is free
이 소개를 받게 되고 두 번째 예수님이
free this world and restore this world. And then secondly, it was Jesus.
나타난 장면이
And what did Jesus do? He came to him to explain his mission.
그래서 내가 이루지 못한 것은
So things that I could not,
이루어주세요.
so things that I could not do, please do it for me. That's what Jesus said.
예수님이 나타나서
And that's
당신의
what Jesus came to do. He came to explain him. Basically, look, this is you have the.
하나님이 먼저 얘기하고
So first, God came and said, look, what you have to do is you have the mission of restoring, what I couldn't do. First, God came, and then later Jesus came and talked to him again as well.
메시아는 소명이 아니라
So
내가 잘났고 똑똑해서
it wasn't because he was clever or
어떤
anything.
숫자를 완성시켜서
It was because
메시아가 되는 것이 아니라 하나님이 보내신
God sent him,
통해서 오는 것이라고
and because he came down, because God sent him, he. I had explained that earlier as well. So these are very important things. And even in the true father's, so even this is the mountain where true father keeps coming and going. So I think it's very important to see this slide. So
아버님은 이제 메시아로서 타락한 인류의 구원의 책임을 갖고
so then true father knew that he had a job of
이 메시아의 자각은 뭐냐?
he had the job of restoring humankind, and his awakening was an incident where Father came to understand his identity. He realized that he was not just the Son of God, but he was also the person to restore this humankind. And from that time on, from that time, he began a purpose-driven life course of devotion. So, was he sent or was he called? So we have to know this carefully. Was he sent or was he called? So let's read this together. If he was called, please everyone read this.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 설명이 필요한가요?
Do you need any explanation for that?
없죠. 자, 그러면
So in that case,
보내심에 의해서 왔다면
if he was sent as the Messiah,
하나님이 직계 아들로 보내시기 위한 철통전환의 과정.
if he was sent as the Messiah,
외적인 환경을
then as we know, he had to create God had to create the basis for a baby seed to come, and also he was supposed to create as well the environment for him to come. So if actually God did create that environment, so again I'm going to ask you to read all together, please.
자, 1. Understand?
Do you understand?
제가 안타까운 것은
The worst thing is,
아직도 뮤지컬이나 연극을 만들 때
even when there's a musical or a drama made,
최근 들어와서 말씀하신 당신의 입장과 관점, 축복 가정들을 성장시킨 레벨만큼의 흐름으로 말씀하시는 개념으로 해석을 못하는 사람들이
so even when we see dramas or different movies, there is no way people don't actually feel for true father. Well, even if we made a movie,
자, 명확한 아버님의
it
측면의 말씀을
it doesn't go in for some reason. So shall we?
2010년 4월 13일 날
So if we can understand on the
2009년 7월
April 10, 2010,
7일부터
April 13, he
그
said
구체적으로 이렇게 얘기하셨는데 자,
he
한번
was.
읽어볼까요? 자,
He
one.
said, for example, let's read all together. I was born.
Two. Three. Four. 그러니까 아버님이 참 부모의 단계에서
So
이전에
so before he could become our true parents and succeed at that level,
참 부모 단계에서 승리의 과정이 끝난 상태에서
he had to complete.
그 차이는
He's explaining actually that he had to complete
하늘의 법을 동시에
the
교육받았으므로
heavenly law
축복 가정들이
of
일하는
becoming
수준만큼
one,
선포해 오시라.
not only with God but also
이 완성급 섭리를
being able to
뛰어넘어서
complete
지금 시대에 와서 이렇게 분명히
the current-
하고 계신데
complete the creation of the new lineage.
Now he's able to
소생
repeat this.
And,
단계에서 가정 단계의 말씀으로
So again,
아직도 아버님을 바라보고
that's a new thing that because he could not explain before, and now he's revealing this slowly to us.
어떻게?
Do you understand?
이게 중요한 개념이에요.
It's very important
메시아는
concept.
아무나 되는 것이 아니라
It's not anyone that can be a Messiah.
자, 그래서 이 하나님 보내셨다는 의미는 뭐냐면
So what's the significance of having been sent by God? Basically, true parents existed prior to the creation. That's it.
즉 하나님의 타락하자는 직계
So-
아들의 씨로 왔기 때문에
So because he came as the baby seed of God,
씨에 기반으로 있었다.
he came in as the foundation created by God. And God's external form,
하나님의 대신자요.
he was God's representative,
그 아담이
and
해와를 만나서
because Adam
타락한 해와를 단계별로 한 단계를 통해서
Eve.
승리시켜가지고
Fallen Eve.
is about Adam meeting fallen Eve
즉
and restoring her
딸의 입장,
8 steps.
in
여동생의 입장,
the different age step as a girl, as a
그리고
daughter,
와이프의 입장, 어머니의
a
입장,
mother,
할머니의 입장,
grandmother,
여왕의 입장,
a queen,
하나님과
and then
일체된
being one,
여성의 완성된
a
입장.
lady that has been become one with God. So,
하나님의 부인의 입장.
Later on, as the wife of God, so he has to help this fallen Eve to grow up all these 8 stages and become again as Eve without the fall. So it will be like when Adam and Eve become a husband and wife, that will be the final victory.
여러분 해와가 타락한 것은
So
그냥 루시퍼와 성적 관계를 통해서
So for
타락성만을 가지고
it wasn't just the fallen nature that she got after she had relationship with Lucifer. She basically lost these 8 stages that she had to create. She had to be or grow in. She lost those 8 stages.
그거 아셨어요?
Did you know that?
이 딸의 입장에서
So
딸이
as a daughter,
가져야 될 성장의 관점이 있어요.
there's a level about as a daughter.
여동생 입장에서,
Then she had to be a sister.
와이프 입장에서,
Then she had to be a wife.
어머니 입장에서,
Then a mother,
할머니 입장에서,
grandmother,
그리고 여왕의 입장에서
and then queen.
하나님 부인,
then God's
하나님과
wife.
일치된 입장에서
and then become as one as God,
하나님의 부인의 단계.
and then one with God, God's wife.
여러분,
So-
하나님의 부인 단계에서
So at this level, as God's wife
완성한 아담 해와가
completed Adam and Eve as a couple,
그 부부를 이룬 죄를 쓰고 하나님이 들어와서 함께 사시면서
so basically they would have removed this sin that they had, and God will be living with
그
them.
누구도 경험하고
So
못한
at this point, there's no one that has had that feeling.
그것을 누가 빼앗았습니까?
Who removed it from us? It was Satan, Mr. Lucifer.
여성의 꿈,
He
여성의
removed
성장하면서
everything
완성된 부분.
He removed everything from the woman, from Eve.
해와는 단순한 성적인 타락으로만 끝난 게 아니라
So it wasn't it after this.
여성이 성장해야 될
So then
과정을 다
It
잃어버린 거예요.
means Eve actually just lost all the different 8 stages that she should have gone through.
자, 그렇기 때문에
So
이 완성한 아담이 하나님의 직계 아들로 왔지만
So even
지상에 타락한 여인
even
한 사람을
though
위해서
Adam was
그 타락한
chosen by
여인을
God to come,
타락하지 않은 해와의 입장에
he had to
세우기 위해서
once he was chosen by God, he still had to find this lady
참
and then
공부가 되게 하고
actually help her grow through all these 8 stages, become
제2의 하나님의
the as well
모양으로
in the form of a true mother, or basically become God's second God.
아담 해와의 창조 목적은
So the reason for the creation of Adam and Eve was not a simple reason.
인간의 완성의
It was
의미는
basically the completion of
하나님이 그 완성한
the
인간의
the completion of human beings is basically when God can enter you and you can become one.
안될 만큼의
So in such a way that there's no way that you are separated from God. So when you can become one with God
그렇기 때문에 인간의 완성은
and God can live in you
하나님이 되는 것입니다.
and become a second God or a representative of God, that's normal how Adam should have been.
제2의 엄마 아빠가 되는 것과
So it's just like you becoming like your dad and mom.
한계가 있죠.
So there's
우리
one
엄마
thing.
아빠로서 내가 타락하지 않았다면 내 자녀는 완성된
There are some limitations, for example.
자녀가 되었을 것입니다. 그럼 엄마 아빠이자 자녀이자
So sometimes
완성된 그 폼을 서로가 완벽히 닮아서 완성했으므로 구분할 수 없는 것처럼 하나님도 인류의 부모로서
so as
인간이
God as the
완성된
Father,
구분할 수 없는
we had to
상태로
also
만들고자 했던
be able to
하나님의 꿈이
become as one as God, just as
Like
God,
God.
like God. Sorry, we have to become one like God.
어떠세요?
Do you understand?
예. 그래서 제2 하나님이 되는 것이란 의미가 그런 것입니다.
So that's basically becoming the second self of God.
밤 하나님, 낮 하나님의
So then, True Father also spoke about God of the day and God of the night. I'll explain that a bit more tomorrow. Yes, is that okay?
자, 그래서 결국 인간의 완성은 낮 하나님이 되는 거예요.
So basically, if you become a second self of God, you're becoming God of the day.
낮 하나님은 체가 있습니다.
So basically, God of the day
완성한 아담
has
해와가 낮 하나님이
you become like a form, which is basically like God of the day.
보이지
God
않는
is in
무형의
you.
하나님은
So you're the physical being of God.
밤의 하나님.
And then the other God is
invisible.
the invisible God is the God of night.
즉 완성
So-
아담 해와의 몸을 쓰고
The visible God is the one that is you, basically representing God, and the invisible God is the God of the night. So you can be the God of the day. That's you understand?
예, 벌써 얘기 다 해보는데. 자, 머리가 좋으시니까
You guys are very clever. That's probably why you understand.
머리가 좋으시니까 잘 이해하시라고 믿습니다. 아주
I believe you understand everyone. It's not moving the slide, and actually, I don't have to start my computer. So.
자,
Can someone read this for me? Second John.
이거 와서 우리 세컨드. 여기. 야, 나오세요. 여기. 자, 나와서. 자, 이거 읽어주세요. 자, 이 시를 다 읽을 때까지 한번 읽어주세요.
Read this until the end. The whole poem.
Crown of glory. When I doubt people, I feel pain. When I judge people, it is unbearable. When I hate people, there is no value to my existence.
잠깐만요. 여기까지 읽죠?
So you read up to there. Just hold on.
개념을 여러분 잘 이해하세요.
So let me just
내가
clarify this.
의심할 때 고통을 느낀다고 했어요.
So if I doubt people, then I feel pain.
인류를 구원할 입장에서
Why? That's because he can see people. He has to be able to restore people. So
성이 가득해.
he doesn't want to have the fallen nature.
그 때문에 그들을 의심하니까
So that fallen nature is doubt.
그들의 타락성을 정죄하고 바라보고 의심하니까
So-
고통이 느껴요.
So then again, because he had that fallen nature of doubt, then he feels pain. If he actually judge and says, "Oh, you're like this," then he feels pain.
그래서 내가 사람을 증오할 때 나는 존재가 잃어버린다. 왜
So if I judge people,
이런 뜻입니다.
then it's unbearable. If I hate, then there's no value to my existence. Why? Because he's the Messiah. That's what the Messiah wrote.
자, 계속 읽겠습니다.
So continue, please.
Yet, if I believe, I am deceived. If I love, I am betrayed. Suffering and grieving tonight, my head in my hands.
그러나 내가 타락한
So-
인간을 믿으면
If I believe these fallen people,
그들은 타락성을 갖고 있기 때문에
because they have fallen
내가
nature,
그들을 믿으면 속임을 당한다. 이거예요.
then I get deceived.
누가 속임을 먼저 당했어요?
Who first get deceived?
예수님이 어떻게 했어요?
What happened to Jesus?
타락한 인류를 구원하려고
Well, he came to save the humankind. He trusted them, and then all the 12 disciples just left him and betrayed him.
그들은 믿으면 내가 속임을 당하고
So if I believe them, I'm still deceived.
그럼 거역을 당하고 십자가에 죽을 것을
So then again, if he loves, he's betrayed. So he cannot believe, and he cannot believe, and he must as well believe. He's in that kind of situation. This is true Father's own life. Please read. Heart, I mean.
Am I wrong? Yes, I am wrong. Even though we are deceived, still believe. Though we are betrayed, still forgive. Love completely even those who hate you. Wipe your tears away and welcome with a smile.
So what do you think?
내가 믿지
Even if I don't believe,
내가 잘못하고 있는 것이야. 왜냐하면 나는
what is wrong with me?
메시아로서
As I'm a Messiah, as God chose me, because I came, I have to help and have the responsibility to actually restore the people.
그런 메시아가
As the Messiah with this kind of heart,
그러나 내가 속임을 당할지라
even if I get deceived,
인류를 믿을 것이다.
I will believe you.
인류 마음속에 인간
I will understand all of you, everything that happens to the human beings, anything you do to me. I will not ask. Even if you put me on the cross, I will still believe you.
그리고 그들이 나를
Then after you betray me, do anything to me,
오리지널 폼을
even if I speak about the original form, you don't understand me,
손두림째
I will still,
줄 것이다.
as a whole, I will still love you.
타락으로 말미암아 속일 줄만 아는 인간들.
So even
끊임없이 반역하는 사람들.
you guys are even if you're just going to you're going to keep deceiving me because of your fallen natures, I'll still have to believe. I'll still have to forgive.
시죠.
This is the true Father's.
Oh Master, the pain of loving, look at my hand. Place your hand on my chest. My heart is bursting, such agony. But when I loved those who acted against me, I brought victory. If you have done the same thing, I will give you the crown of glory.
오 주여. 사랑한다는 아픔이
So, Master, this is the pain of loving.
내 손을 보아드소.
Look at my hands.
내 힘 떨리는 손을 보아드세요.
Place your hand on my chest.
이 인류를 구원하고 싶은
I want to
부모의 심정으로
actually
다가가고자
restore
하는
these
내
people.
결심에 떨리는
I've
손을
decided to help them
As your parents.
as a parent.
나의 가슴은 말할 수 없는
My heart is bursting.
속에서 터졌던
I have a lot of agony. I have a lot of
부모의
pain.
심정을 알고 보니까
Because I have a parent's
자녀
heart.
다운 인류를
I want to
바라보니까
protect, I want to save, rescue the human
그들을
race.
사랑할 때
But when I love
내가
them,
승리하는 것이 나의 승리가
I have
하나님의
victory.
승리라고 하는 것을 깨우치시게 됩니다.
It's
I-
victory, God's victory as well.
만일 나와 같은
So
존재
if-
그 누구가
so I
있다면
did bring victory.
그 어떤
So
사람이
if
있다면
anyone can do
나와
the same,
같이 동참하는 누가
like me.
있다면
anyone,
그들도
these people as
나와
well,
같이
like
이
me,
타락한 인류를 사랑하는
if
사람이
you continue
있다면
loving people,
그 사람에게
then
영광의 멸류관
that person I will give the crown of glory.
그가 누구입니까?
Who is that? It's through blessed families. That he's talking about you guys.
메시아로서 구원한 그 섭리에 동참하는 우리가 있다. 그도 메시아.
예.
왜 잠깐만 왜? 그도 메시아다. 메시아의 뜻과 그 내용을
So,
따라가는 우리가 있다면 그도 메시아로서 나도 그
so again,
영광의 멸류관.
if you have done this, the same thing, then again I'll give the crown of glory to this person.
여러분들 이 아버님 2002년도 세계
So in
실력대회에서
2002, in the World Poetry Tournament,
이 시가 밝혀졌습니다.
by the Poets Association, he was awarded a top prize because of that poem.
인류를 구원하고자 하는 열망이
That's because he's got the heart and he does want to support and restore the world.
그리고 우리 축복하는 우리
So he believes us, the blessed families, even if you deceive him.
2000년 전 예수는 혼자였지만
In 2000 years ago, Jesus was alone and he received a lot of
아버님은
problems and he went through a lot.
12제자
But at this time, True Father has had more than 12 disciples and he believed us even if we deceive because
당신의 대신자 입장에서
He-
우리가
he-
서기를 소망하십니다.
even if
여기에 숨겨져.
so this is True Father's heart.
그래서 천명을 통한 메시아의 자격은 뭐냐?
So what is the awakening as Messiah and actual realization as Messiah? What happened after that?
참 아버님이 이 뜻을 이루면 인류는
So if
구원.
True Father can
참 아버님이
achieve
이
this,
책임 분담을 다하지 못하면 인류는
if he can achieve this, then he will be able to
모든 책임이 타락한 인류를
restore
구원하느냐 못하느냐
everyone.
모든 책임이
It's not about him.
참
just
아버님에게
he can feel and he knows that all the responsibility is on him. The responsibility of saving and restoring humankind. How much pain should that be on his shoulders?
그래서 이후의 생애는
How much of weight?
실체적 메시아의 길을 가시면서
So as he was going
이 실체적
this
메시아의 자각은 뭐냐?
life of Messiah, he understood. He
사탄과
felt.
싸워 승리한
He
실정을 만들어가야
he actually realized that he has so much. He has to keep
한 사람
not only one person, but many people came to him, and he realized that he has to just be able to wipe the God's tears and just keep going.
그것을 이루려면 실정을 가져야 돼.
And he knew that he had to have a heart.
그래서 실체적 자각의
So
Potential result.
to be able to, and he knew that he had to
Bring
bring
substantial
a substantial result.
최고의
Not-
핍박자는 사탄이가 아니라 아버님의 최고의 핍박자는 하나님이었다고 고백하죠.
So then he understood that he had to be just one with God.
하나님이 왜
Because why did the Why could he not talk to God?
메시아 자각을 하기 전에는
Because before
16세 이전에는
he was 16,
그 책임 분담을 몰랐어요.
he didn't know at all about his responsibility.
16세 이후에
So then,
인류의 구원을
when he realized his responsibility of actually what he had to do as a Messiah,
타락한 인류를
then
구원할 대용의 로드맵을
then he kind of created a roadmap of how he will restore humankind. And then he just had to show God, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. And then God was like, okay, there you are. This is how you show. This is what you're doing. Okay.
절박한 마음으로 하나님은 메시아 한 사람을 희생시켜서
So then God knew that even if he's going to sacrifice himself completely, and God just knew that he's going to just push.
사랑의 푸시죠.
He's going to push True Father, but the True Father did not want to make him
그 사랑의 푸시를 당하면
cry or suffer. So he just had to keep it to
하나님은 참
himself.
아버님을 도와주고 싶어도 도와줄 수 없어요.
So even God wants to help True Father. He can't
도와줄
help.
수가 없어요.
He can't do anything directly. Everything, he's just got to push and support and be at the back.
그 때문에 당신 혼자 고통스러워.
So he knows that even though True Father is suffering all by himself, he said, look, this is it.
가정을 만들어줘야
He just has to keep going, and then even if Satan accuses him, he can do nothing about it, but just see how Father fights.
상담할 자가 없고
There was no one at all for Jesus, for True Father to talk to. Not to Satan, not to God, no one.
이렇게 16세 때
So when he was 16,
하나님의 계시를 받고
he got the revelation from God
메시아의 공적인 생애 도정을 가시면서
about his public life.
정주 공립 보통학교 29에 졸업을 하시게 됩니다.
Can we change the slide, please?
이게 초등학교 때 일이에요.
So when he was elementary school,
다른 사람보다 당신은 일제 시대이기 때문에 3살 늦게 학교를 다니셨기 때문에
because when he was 3 years old,
초등학교 6학년 때 하나님으로부터 모든 메시아
he got the idea. He knew what he had to do, and after he was 16, he actually was awakened to his current life. So let's go over with the
메시아
slides.
자각 이후에 당시의 노정보다 넥스트
So again, this is what we had to have before, but next please.
부모도 스승도
So
친구도 없는 생애 노정이었다고.
he lived without parents, mentors, or friends. That was his life. Who will he talk to?
생애를 한들
Who will he be able to explain what he's going through?
하나님도
Even God.
상대할 수
He
없는
cannot.
입장이었어요.
Even God cannot be
사탄이라 천사.
his mentor because Satan will invade. Cannot support him. So he was lonely position without anyone very concerned. So even externally, internally, he had to walk a path to be as a representative of God, and he had to live in the body of a servant with the heart of a parent.
한이 복받칠 때마다 얘기하시죠.
So that's it.
아버님이 여러분들이 한국말을 몰라서 그렇지만
I know
아버님이 욕을 할 때
when True Father swears,
얼마나 정말로
he
살이 떨릴 만큼의 그런 단어를 쓰시죠.
he uses certain languages, that very extreme languages, when he swears, because
근데 그 단어를 쓰시는데 그것은 욕을 위한 욕이 아니라
he's not using it to insult, or it's because he feels that he has to fight with Satan. So that's when he uses those swearing words.
그래서 메시아를 이해를 하려면
So if you want to understand the Messiah, you have to study Korean.
그래서 아버님은 이 이제 16세 17세
So again, when he was 16 and 17,
대한민국의 한반도를
he was seeking God's existence in the principle and searched all of Korea during the summer. Then
그때 당시는 일본이 지배했던 시대.
he said, please release his pitiable people from the tragic fate. That was his prayer to God.
기도하시죠. 이 한반도를 돌아보니까
Now he went round Korea.
일본에 의해서
You can see that Japan was invading Korea, and the Koreans were suffering.
굶어 죽고 있고
The Koreans were starving. Koreans were being hit a
나라도
bit,
없이 서러움에
and it was just like people were just living and dying,
눈물이 쏟아져 나와.
and then in him all tears were coming out.
여기서
He just started crying. He was like, this tribe, these people
전 세계를
are not just. He knew that they were not just Koreans, but they were representing the whole world because he was the Messiah born in that nation.
죽어가고 있는 사람들
So
보니까
he looked at these people
하나님의 백성이 죽어가고
dying,
있어.
and he was feeling that it's really pitiable.
이 불쌍한 충격적인 비운에
He was like, please, please, release these pitiable people from this tragic fate. That was his prayer.
관점에서 빨리 인류를 구원해야 되겠다.
Then he was like, I need to really quickly restore human beings.
그리고 아버님은 이제 초등학교를 마치시고
When he finished primary school at Hosodong,
자, 이 흑석동의 아버님의 중학교 시절에
this is his face when he was at Hosodong. After he had graduated, how does he look?
이 시대마다 이제 아버님 얼굴이 나오는데
So every generation there will be a few years later we're going to see different pictures of our true parents.
자,
Look at his face.
이 사진을 보니까
What do you think? Give answers.
네, 메시아의 자각을 하시고
Yeah, exactly, because he had understood.
하는
He's just understood his position and what he had to do as a Messiah.
무장한
So
당신의 얼굴을
that is his face. Yes, he's quite serious, isn't he?
이제 이 경성상공신문학교에
So in Gyeongsong Commercial School,
4월
from April 12, 1938, he came to Seoul. He left North Korea and came down to Seoul in South Korea.
이때는 남북이 갈라지지 않았습니다.
At that time, they were not divided.
이 경성상공신문학교
So from that commercial industrial vocational school,
이때 제가 인터뷰를 했습니다.
I interviewed
이 중학교 친구들
his friends at that time, 17 people that were in that school with him.
아웃사이드 멤버.
So they are all outside members.
이 사람들을 모아놓고
So I gathered them
식사를 대접하면서
and I gave them food for dinner.
사실 저는 아버님은 객관적으로 증명하는 것이 굉장히 재미있었어요.
So for me, to actually prove that true father was the Messiah, it was something very funny or very interesting, something I really wanted to do.
대부분 사람들은
So
인사이드에서
some people, like inside church members, they just
간증을 통해서
listen to testimonies and they accept it.
제가 바라본
But me, the father I look at, I wanted to know more from people that are outside. His friends,
당시에 보고 있었느냐가
his friends and other people he lived with, how he was.
내적으로 간증된 내용을
So not only,
객관적으로 해석할 수 있다고
I didn't only want to know things from the church and internal, but I also wanted to know people that were outside. So like a crazy person, I went around and asked people that were not even in the church.
그 17명을
So these 17 people,
그 중에
among these 17 people,
고급 공무원도 있고
there are some
또
army men,
군에서
high-ranking officials,
단계에 오른 사람도 있고 여러 사람들이 있었어요.
so many people.
제가 그 사람들에게 질문했습니다.
So I asked them,
문성명 선생은 그때 당시에 중학 시절에
when you were together in school, what kind of person was Reverend Song Myung-moon?
그 시대 한 사람이
And one person put up his hand and said,
문성명 선생은
true father
우리의 친구가
was
아니었습니다.
not our friend.
기가 막혔어요.
I was so surprised.
저는 얼굴이 빨개졌습니다.
I became red.
근데 그 뒤에 이야기를 듣고
But then when I heard the rest of the conversation,
감명을 받았어요.
I was very shocked and very moved, sorry.
선생은 당신들의 친구가 아니라고 이야기하죠?
Why do you say, why would someone say that they were not friends?
무슨 배경이 있었죠?
So what kind of background did he have?
그들이 이야기했어요.
And that's what this is what they replied.
문성명 선생은 우리보다
Our Reverend Song Myung-moon,
정도 나이가 많았습니다.
he was not only 3 years older than us,
우리의
but
형님
he was like our
아버지와 같은 존재였어요.
big brother as well as a father to us, father figure to us.
이제 한국에서
In Korea,
이 교실이 있으면
there is, for example, in winter,
이렇게
if there is a class like this,
연통을 이렇게 만들어 놓고
and it's winter,
나무
Heating system.
we have a heating system where we burn trees.
난로라고 해요.
We call it nalo.
그 난로에다가
So
나물 떼 가지고
we burn the trees or the woods inside in the class, and then we get all warm. It's winter time.
나무를 불을 그 난로불을 피울 때
So when we were doing the fire,
연기가 많이 나요.
there's so much smoke.
그래서 어느 정도 나무가 이제 잘 타기 시작하면
So when the smoke, when the tree has burnt to some level, then the smoke reduces, isn't it?
연기로 뒤덮입니다.
And then all of a sudden, the smoke is all around the classroom. In the beginning, smoke is all around the classroom.
그리고 그거는 9시에 학교 시작하는데
So we start school at 9 o'clock,
7시 반에서 8시 사이에
and so from 7 to 8,
Normally people come.
then normally people come from 7 to 8,
추운 겨울에 난로불을 미리 피워
but True Father will come in earlier,
연기가 다 빠진
and then
상태에
he would do his best to warm the room
난로불
so that all the smoke goes out before the class starts actually.
그리고 주변을
So then after that he just cleans the whole place.
당신이 그렇게 해놨다라고 하는
And then
하나도 얼굴에 나타나지도
he
않고
doesn't look like it. He doesn't show that he's done it. He just does it and he keeps studying.
모습만 보게
And then we only could see a glimpse of it.
자기가 했다라고 하는 표현 하나도 안 한다는 거예요.
He doesn't even say that he did it.
그것이
So
이틀 계속되는 것이
for not only 1 and 2 days, but it just was something that was usual. That's what he was doing.
사람들이
So many people
성님과 같은 종
were like, oh, that's someone that's like a big brother to us.
어린아이가 학교 끝나고
So when the little
집에
kids,
가려가면
you
누구
know,
찾죠? 엄마를 찾지.
so when just like when kids, when they finish school, then they're looking for who did they look for? They look for their parents, don't they? But at the same time, when kids, when we finish school or anything, these classmates actually felt very comfortable with him because he was like their big brother. That kind of feeling, of parental feeling.
객관적으로 이들이 이렇게 얘기하는 거예요.
So that's what they said.
감동을
I was
받았어요.
very moved.
그리고 또 하루는 이제 한 사람이 또 손을 들기로
Then another person put up his hand. Then
이 사람은 이제 그 천안 사람인데 천안
someone from Cheonan.
저 선문 유니버시티
He's in Somun University
올드
now.
학교 그죠?
It's a very old school, isn't it?
그 사람 얘기가
What? This is what he said.
난이 문용명 씨를 잃어버릴 수가 없어요.
I cannot forget Mr. Yoon Myung
그때 당시 아는 용명이었어요.
because at that time his name was Yoon Myung
어느 날이었대요.
Moon.
자기가 이제
Because he said-
학기에
One day,
학교를 가야 되는데
for example, I had to go to school,
자기 아버지가 하던 사업이 다 망해가지고
and my dad's business all broke down, and I could not go to school anymore.
그래서 이제 이 방학 때가 됐는데
So after the vacation,
방학이 이제 끝나가고
when the vacation finished, it was already the next semester,
얼굴이 이제
and
어두워가지고
I became all.
학교를 못 다니게
I was so gloomy because I knew I would not be able to go to school because I didn't have any money, and my parents' business had just come down. So he
참아보니
went to True Father's house,
그분의 얼굴 딱 보더니 야,
and then True Father just looked at him and
왜
said,
얼굴이 그래?
"Oh, why is your face like that? What's wrong with you? Do you have any problem?"
라고 질문하더니
And then that's what True Father asked him.
그래서 사실대로 그 얘기를 했대요.
Sorry, True Father was in his way to home and asked him that, and then he said,
그랬더니 아버님이 야 잠깐 기다려.
True Father said, "Just wait,
너 여기 앉아있으라고.
just sit down here for a while."
그랬더니 방에 들어가더니
And then
조금 있다가 무엇을 갖고 오는데
after he went to his room, and then he came out,
넣어가지고
and he had an envelope.
포켓에다
He had an envelope that he had put in his pocket on his chest pocket, and then he took it out of his chest pocket, and then he gave to the guy and said, "Don't worry about me,
포함해서 많은 것을 보내왔기 때문에
because we have so much.
너에게
I've saved a lot of money. These are my savings, and we get money when we work. So don't worry about me.
열심히 학교 다녀.
Just go and study.
그렇게 얘기하더라는
Go
거예요.
to university. Go and study."
정말 너무 기뻐가지고
And he was so happy.
너무 기뻤지만 감사하다는
He
표현을
did not know how to even thank.
할 수가 없었대요. 너무
He
감격적이니까.
was so moved. He didn't know what to say. He didn't even know how to say thank you. There was no way. There was nothing that he could say to be thankful enough. So the new semester started.
학교에 가자마자
And
누구를 보고 싶어요?
Then when that guy went to school, who did he want to see? What do you think?
참 아버님을 보고 싶은
He wanted to see true father,
근데 아버님이 없어.
but the true father was not there.
일주일이 지났습니다.
So the 1 week went by. True father didn't come.
아이들의 얼굴이
And then that child's face
어린
friend's face, became like someone that he became so worried. His face changed and he became really depressed. And after 3 weeks, then true father arrived, and his dark face his father's face was completely dark, and he was very skinny. And then true father came in that kind of looks to school. And then he realized that he had given his school money to be able to enter school to that boy. And at that time there were so many different type of factories, but in one of the factories you have to clean once. These are the tubes that have like lots of smoke and very dirty tubes. And that kind of tubes are being cleaned once. They're very dirty and very dangerous. So they're being cleaned once a year.
Because of the gas.
It's dangerous because of the gas. So when you go and clean it, you pay. The pay is 5 times more than normal pay.
다른 노동을 하는 것보다 5배의 임금을 더 주는 것입니다.
So that he knew that he get paid 5 times more. So for 3 weeks, he worked there and he got his money for school.
그래서 이 양반이
So that boy,
학교를 졸업하고 나서
after he graduated, he was always thinking, how will I be able to, give back this grace to this Mr. Young Myung. So when true father went to Japan and came back after the war, he had been trying, but he couldn't meet with the true father. So then the war ended, and he still couldn't meet. And then after the war had finished, true father's name had changed to Moon Sun Myung. So it was even harder. So one day he was walking, he just met him. And then he started Kyeonbae and cry. And so after I interviewed with these people, so many of my spiritual children are actually people that met with the true father when he was young, because I went to listen to their interviews, and then they join us. So again, even like there are like 7 people actually that became my members. My disciples. So even true father's friends, I have 4 couples out of them from true father's friends. Just because I went, when I was just interviewing them, I started giving them some lectures. So, wow, I have 58 couples.
Not individual, couples.
58 couples himself.
그러니까 실질적으로
Wow.
아버님을 객관적으로 증명하는 것을 통해서 저는 굉장히
So for me, my own faith was about trying so hard to prove how the Messiah is the Messiah.
역사적으로 종교 시대에 있어서 그 종교가 가장 발전할 때가 언제인지 아세요?
Do you know when the religion grew? It was when it was in trouble. Whenever they were in persecution, once they come back to a calm and stabilized way, then they're back in trouble. They don't do anything.
당하고 하면서
But when they are in trouble and they are being persecuted, then they're strong.
우리 식구들이
Our members
많은 선교 국가에서
are coming from different
발전을 가장 많이 하고
Christian countries. But if you look at Africa,
DR 콩고 같은 경우는
for example, Democratic Republic of Congo,
그 수도권에만 식구 기반이
if you
50명,
just look at the capital, there are 5,000
중, 고
members,
다 우리가 갖고 있어요.
and all of them are ours.
우리의
We got our own schools.
And we got our own school there as well.
그리고 코트디부아르,
In Cote d'Ivoire, in Ivory Coast,
아이보리 코스트라고도 하죠. 이 아이보리 코스트도 우리 식구의 기반이 3,000명이.
we have over 3,000 people.
그들은
And these people,
아버님의 말씀을 듣고
They-
열정적으로 일해요.
they not only listen to, but once they listen to our true Father's word, they work spiritually and with lots of energy.
그런데 선교의 뿌리가 먼저 생겼던 곳은
So where,
어느 정도 식구의 기반이 되고
so when,
울타리가 만들어지니까 더 이상 발전 안 해요.
so for example, once we are stabilized and everything is calm, we tend to not grow.
액션하잖아요.
We don't act at all.
감정적으로 빠져요.
We just get lost. We lost in our thoughts and we just do nothing about it. Because
이게 문제예요.
that's a problem of the developed countries.
정말로 아버님에 대한 그 객관적인 얘기를 들으니까
So after I hear this kind of lectures myself, I grow.
우리 식구끼리 얘기할 때는
And when I
아버님을
speak,
From outside.
yeah, when I hear as well the stories from outside people on how they met with True Father, how they were with True Father, then as well I grow.
그래서
So
오늘 여러분들이 명확한 아버님을
So I really want you to be able to realize and see clearly how
그리고 이 흑석동
and why He's God. He's the Messiah.
38년이니까 1920년생이니까 19세 때예요.
So this is when He was 19.
이 19세 때 이미 새 예수교회라고 하는
There was a
그 중단
Jesus Church,
입장에서
and He became the Sunday school teacher,
세우시고
and that,
학생 선교를 하십니다.
and He was teaching students.
제가 이것을 그 인터뷰하면서
When I was interviewing, what I was very surprised was, what really surprised me,
하숙을 하던 그 집의 주인이
because there was a house where he was living, and basically the landlord,
이 하숙집 주인이
landlord's daughter, I think.
이기봉 씨입니다.
Her name is Lee Ki-bong,
이기봉 씨인데 그의 모친이 강숙경 씨입니다.
and her mother is Mo Chini.
강숙경 씨.
Mrs. Kang Song-kyu. What kind of person I'm going to tell you what kind of person she was. She was
많았던 사람인데
someone that had lots of disciples.
그 당시에 대한
That was very rich, sorry.
중심적인 목사 또 불교의
And
그 중단의 스님이나
she
이런 분들이 강숙경 씨의 경제적인 원조를 안 받은 사람이 없어요.
Okay, she was basically giving lots of donations to religious leaders, be it in the.
돈 있어야 되는데
So she was giving donations to different religions,
되게 많은
not only
많았던 사람이기 때문에
not only Christianity, but it was as well Buddhism and everything else.
훌륭한 종교
So
지도자들을
she gave to
서포트했습니다.
supported many different church leaders because she was quite wealthy. This Mrs. Kan Hyun-kyu. So then she went to visit Lee Ki-bong,
놀러 왔어요.
which is her daughter's house, the landlord of True Father.
그런데 그 딸 집에 와서
And when she went to that house,
이렇게 앉아 있는데
she was sitting downstairs, and then she heard some noise of prayer and shaking.
아니
She said,
이 기도 소리는 내가 수많은 종교 지도자들 목사들을
well, this kind of prayer I've never heard before.
어린 아이가
But
엄마를
this is so strange because this prayer basically is like baby that's crying
Looking for
and looking for mom.
기도하고
So what kind of who is crying like that? What kind of tears?
그래서 이 강수경 씨는
So the Kang Soo-kyung, who was her daughter,
딸 이희롱 씨한테 묻지요.
she asked to her daughter, "What is that noise?"
우리 집에서 하수구나.
And she, "Oh, that's a middle school student that stays in our house."
그리고 그가
And then she said,
문을 방문을 열고
and she opened the door of the room and she saw him.
방은 1층을 거쳐서 2층으로 올라가야 되는데
So basically, you have to go to the second floor, and there was a
2층으로 올라가는데
table.
겨울인데
It was winter,
2층의
And-
그 구조물은
on that second floor,
나무였어요. 나무.
there was only a tree.
일본식 집이기 때문에.
So it was a house that was constructed like a Japanese
그
house.
나무 구멍을 타고
So,
뚝뚝 떨어지는
so
거예요.
basically, there was drops falling down on the first floor.
이 딸을 급하게 불렀어요.
And she said, "Hey, hey, 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 come here!
집 샌다.
Look at that! It's rain. There's a leakage in your house.
빵이고 물이 왜 새지?
It's not even raining. Why is
그리고 그 기도하는
it dripping?" And then she said, when she went up,
아버님이 기도를
she saw true father
모습이 나요.
crying,
머리부터
not crying, praying, and he was not only sweating, he was completely wet. He was in tears. His nose was running. His sweat. He was wet. His feet, his clothes were all drenched. And then when he was drenched, he was now dripping down.
그 모습이
When she saw that,
심정적인
she was so moved, and
아들의 모양을
she realized it was like
이분은
true son of God.
나자마자
And when when his prayer finished,
어린
he
아이
looked at this. She asked this middle school teacher,
집안이 만들어진 분이요. 당신은 나이가 어리지만
You are young,
당신이 목회를 하세요.
but I think you should be a preacher.
그래서 땅을 구입하고
So
집을 짓게 됐는데
then she created this church, Sunday school teacher,
예배당.
and this is the Myeong-suk church that she created for True Father.
아버님 여기 계십니다. 아버님의
And that's father.
노가다를 통해서 노동을 통해서 이 집을 짓게 됐고
So basically, after she created this church for True Father,
여기 이제 아버님의 사촌 동생
these are some of the cousins of True Father over there.
집을 짓게 됐습니다.
And
그래서 아버님이
this is
they
built the
제가 여쭤봤어요.
they built the
이
house.
명수대 예배당이라고 하는 이 글씨는 누가 썼습니까?
And he asked when he was interviewing, who wrote this?
제가 아버님에게 확인을 받았지.
And then of course it was True Father who wrote it.
여기에서 아버님은 어린 학생들을 일요일 날 예배를 드리고
So again, every Sunday he was
일부
teaching
예배는 어린 학생들과
such young
더불어서 예배를
kids.
드리고 2부 때는
First part, that was first.
So the first part he was teaching very young kids,
어린 학생들을 당신 예배 드리고
and then the second part it was for elders and the people that he wanted them to become very strong leaders, especially that guy beside him.
그리고 당신이 이
So-
어린 아이들하고 일부 예배가 끝나고
So
나서
once he finished with the young children,
권덕팔 씨가 어른들 중심하고 예배가
He-
끝나면
he tried to.
그 어른들을 다시 데리고 아버님이 이제 그 뒷동산이 있습니다.
So
그 산인데
he went to the mountain with the elders after the young,
권사 장로들에게
after the first part of the service with the children,
완성을 한 창조 원리
and then
창조를 강의를
he
하셨다.
gave the first lecture of the creation from the divine principle in the mountain.
그리고 전도 활동을 하시고
Then he kept doing a lot of witnessing,
삶을 사시게 되죠.
and he lived that way.
이 봉사 활동에 대한
And a lot of volunteer activities as well.
짧게 얘기하면
So to say slowly, for example,
Hangang
브릿지
Bridge.
밑에는
there was the Hangang River,
모래섬이 되어 있어요.
and there was a mountain made out of sand.
전쟁 시대고 일본이 지배하는 시대이기 때문에
And because it was a time when Japan was
거기에
invading Korea, they were very
그냥 그
Orphans.
간단한 천막으로 집을
Orphans
짓고
who
살고
lost
있었어요.
parents.
there were so many orphans, who lost their parents because of the invasion of Japan into Korea. So he
일요일이
actually
되면 그 사람들을 찾아서
saved some money to be able to buy them food, to cut their hair, to, basically take care of those kids.
이때
orphans.
아버님을 쫓아서 노스코리아에서
So then
이 명수의
with the find true father. When-
쫓아온 사람이 있었어요.
So there was someone from North Korea that came to find him in that place.
임문승용 씨의 간증에 의하면
And this person, if we listen to his testimony,
이제 참 아버님과 권덕팔 씨와
he
그리고
spoke
유복
about
씨라고 하는
the.
친구와
He's
이
giving
네
four
명이서
names of
만들어
people,
먹었는데
and those 4 people together with true
참
father.
아버님이 요리할 때가 가장 고통스럽다는 거예요.
He said that when the true father was cooking, it was very, very salty.
No, painful.
It
experience to see.
여러분들
It was
그
very
말씀을
painful.
보면 내가 여자보다도 더 잘 만들고 맛있게
It was very painful to see. You might think that, okay, maybe if a girl is doing it, they do it very well. No, it's salty.
아버님 요리할 때가 가장 고통스러워.
So then it was quite painful to see that
그게 왜
and to
그러냐면
eat as well for his food because it was so salty.
목표는 돈을 아껴야 돼.
He said, because I have to save money.
그러니까 간장 있잖아요.
So then he
간장.
puts a lot of salt. Kanjang is the soy sauce actually, sorry. Soy sauce. He puts lots of soy sauce. So then because it was so salty, people could not really eat their food. So because it was so salty, they could not really finish their food, so they ate it as well for lunch and dinner.
그리고 그 돈을 세이브해가지고
So they saved.
한강 다리에 있는 어린 아이들을 도와줘야 돼.
So he said, and then if I do this way, then you guys can eat, and then the rest I can save the young children.
문승용 씨는 그때 뜻도 모르고
So he said, he was quite clever.
말씀도 모르는 입장에서 아버님의
So-
사촌 동생이지만
So the cousin was like, oh, that's one thing I can't forget about my cousin.
아니 돈을 아끼려면
He wants to save money. You have to save your own money.
하수생활하고 똑같이 돈을 내는
Because we are all paying the same amount of money. So how can you try and save all our money
나도 고통을 받아야 돼.
and then why should I suffer?
이게 가장
So that you can also feed some more people, because they basically shed money to eat as well.
아버님은 이제 어린 빈민들을
So these are little secrets
노정을 가시게 됩니다.
of his life.
여기 건덕팔 전도사
That's Mr. Kondopal, his cousin, Mr.
유구복
Yukubok.
유구복 씨는 나중에 이제 일본 유학 갈 때까지
And then they were quite together until he went to Japan. He was someone that was very, very close and could understand true father's heart very well. So let's continue.
가족집이었고요.
This is the house where they lived,
집이었는데 6.25 전쟁 때
Used to be.
and there used to be a second floor up there, but now that's what's remaining.
그래서 여기서 아버님은 성서와 그 성서
So this is
연구하고 토론하고
basically a debate that true father had,
이제
a Bible debate when he was with people.
지도자를 통해서
So
검증받는 역할을
basically, yeah.
그 철저한 자기 관리를
And
하시면서
after that, he also had a very prayerful life.
아버님이 어떻게 생활하셨냐면
What do you think? This is how he lived.
여기 이제 초가 있잖아요.
There's a candle here, yeah? Whoops.
자, 초가 있습니다.
It's a candle.
초가 있으면 어떻게 합니까? 여기
What can we do?
불을 붙이고
We put light,
손목을 떨구죠.
and then we throw it down for the wax to come on the table, yeah? And then if we put the candle down, then the wax sticks, makes the candle stick, yeah? Yeah.
그럼 칼이 이렇게 쓰죠.
Then you can put a knife.
펴져 있고 여기서 공부를 하십니다.
So he's studying, and he puts a knife right in the middle as well, so that
칼을 파는
if he falls asleep, the knife will hit him. That's
잠이 와요?
that's how serious he was when he was studying.
잠을 잘 수.
So there's a light, there's a fire for him to be able to read, and
그래서 사탄과
he was saying that this is me fighting with Satan. If I fall asleep and if I cannot win this fight, then Satan will win. So he could only sleep 3 hours a day. So he was training himself to sleep, to not fall asleep. Here's someone sleeping here. I get every.
내일은 앞에다가 단독칼 하나씩 꽂아놓고
So tomorrow I'll put a knife there. So for those who sleep, and I'll put the knife right beside.
그런 사생 결단에
So that's the kind of life
strong
he
determination.
strong determined life he
그러면서
had.
아버님이 그때 당시에 남긴 말입니다.
So this is the one
그때
of the
사진은 없어서 비슷한 사진을
there was a similar picture. This is not, I couldn't find the right picture at that time, but this is it wasn't, don't you think it was that kind of picture when he wrote this?
자, 한번 읽어볼까요?
Let's read together, everybody. Before, sorry. After the human fall, God lived for us prisoner.
모습을 쓰고 살면
And I am a prisoner now, until the day I find
그런 하나님의 뜻을
and establish God's will.
때까지 나는 죄수가 될 수가 없어요.
So I cannot be free until I can help
하나님이 죄수의 생활을 하시고
God.
자식들 때문에 인류 때문에
So basically,
Sinner.
I am a sinner.
그런 때문에
Because I'm a sinner,
당신은 하나님의 직계 아들 타락하지 않은 존재로 왔지만
even though I came as a child of God and I came to help, I am a sinner.
나는 죄수의 삶을 살 수밖에
And I still have to live that kind of life until everyone is saved.
잘못을 안 했다 할지라도
So
그
if
자식이 잘못을 하고
you can, as you know,
강도가 되고
when God, when the parents have a problem with the children, when the children make a mistake,
강도의 공허가
you know how you are. You know how you feel for the parents.
없더라도
So even if parents have no mistake or no sin, because their child made a sin, then you feel that way. Yeah?
우리는 죄수
We are sinners.
하늘 부모가 타락하지 않은 온전하신 하나님이 죄수의 생활을 하실 때
When God lives that kind of life, then we also
우리가
have to live that kind of life.
벗는 것은
For us to be able to remove that kind of position, we have to be able, here in
영국
England,
사람들
English people,
이 정권을 복귀하는
you
그
have to be
날이
able to, until English people can
죄수에서
actually
해방되는 날.
restore and change, then they cannot leave that position.
그런 마음을 가지고 일생을 살아오신 우리 아버지
So that's the kind of hearty heart for the humankind.
이 바위에서 매일 기도를
This is the rock where he was praying often, every day.
저는 이 흑석동의 2년 때문에
When I was in Hasukdong for 2 years,
이 근처에서
I used to come close to that
집을
place,
얻고 살고 있고
and I also have a house over there.
고정을 가다가
And when I made the
매일 이승을
will-
갑니다. 왕복 1시간 한 20분
If he's in
걸리고
Korea, he goes there every day.
so yeah, so when I'm in Korea, I go there every day.
여기서 정성을 드리면 아버님의 중학 시절에 그 영상이 떠올라요.
So then when I come and pray here, then I remember the things that True Father
많이
and
달라졌지만 옛날에 그 흑석동의 모습.
the different devoted life that True Father had, devotions that he made.
그러면 지금 몇 시죠?
What time is it?
5시 10분까지 쉬셨다가
So let's rest until 10 past 5.
몸은 졸려도 이 마음